For my first interaction of the Global Learning Project, my partner Frida and I just sat down and I used the 5 questions about her educational experiences, kind of focusing on the social aspects of her educational experiences. I use those questions to just guide us through our conversation. And by the end of it, we were talking about all sorts of different things, just the differences between Canada and here, and just having like a conversation as friends instead of having it be so structured. So I was really happy I got to do that. I just used some really basic questions, and we just kind of elaborated from there about her academic experiences in the U.S. and in Canada, and then about her like social experiences and how that affected her academics. And then I shared mine as well. Then for the second interaction, I brought her to a worship service here on campus called Real Life. It's part of the organization on campus called Cru. So what happens there is we got picked up from Wilson Hall, and we were brought to the business complex, which is where the service is held. We go in and we worship through song, and then we sit down. We fill out blue cards, which you can see in my document, and then and those blue cards just are there to help people know how many people attended, who was new, how people liked it, so on and so forth, and how to reach out to them. We then heard a story from one of the students on campus, and then we heard a sermon from a pastor, and then we were pretty much done. So that's pretty much how that interaction went. Some of my emotions about these interactions were, for the first interaction, the emotions are pretty much positive the whole time. It was very fun and freeing being able to talk to her, and it was so interesting to learn a lot about just her, and how her educational experience in Canada was different or similar to mine, because there were definitely a lot of similarities between our educational experience, and then it was so fun to learn about the differences as well. That was very cool. For my second interaction, though, there were definitely positives, because I was really happy I got to share that part of her with me, because that's a lot about what religion is about, sharing with other people and not keeping it to yourself. So I was glad about that, but I was really, really nervous as to how she would maybe see me or like judge me if she didn't end up liking it. So throughout, I was kind of nervous as I was singing the songs or as the preacher was preaching that she might not like it, or that she might think that like we were all like super weird for buying into that. And I just felt really nervous throughout, just because of that. Yeah. It was just really hard to like kind of shake that from my mind and just kind of try to go on as I would normally. However, something that surprised me, one of the 3 things that surprised me about the Global Learning Project, was that afterwards, after my second interaction when I brought her to Real Life, she said that she just really, really enjoyed it and was glad that she went. And I did not expect that, because throughout I kind of thought she didn't like it and I was really nervous. So I was really glad to hear and very surprised that she liked it so much, and I was very, very pleased by that. And then another thing that surprised me was during Real Life, she didn't tell me this directly, but she told me after that she was like, "Hey, I saw your like facial expression during this part. What happened?" Or like, why did you do that? And so she was kind of just watching me throughout, I think, and I think maybe one of the reasons that was because since she doesn't really go to church or care much about religion, she didn't maybe know how to react in that environment. So she might have been using me as like a guide, which I didn't really expect at all. She might have been looking to me to see how to act. The third thing that surprised me was just how similar the Canadian school system sounds compared to mine, because I think that while there are a lot of differences, there were just like a lot of similarities. Like, for example, some of our teachers were the same, or some of our social interactions with others at school were very similar, and we could share and bond over those shared experiences, which was really surprising. I'm really glad that ended up happening. So for the first interactions, some of my thoughts about the similarities were, like I said, one of our teachers in particular that we both kind of bonded with was our fifth grade teacher, and both of our fifth grade teachers were males, which is something that you don't normally find in an elementary school teacher. We talked about how, for both of us, they were really laid back and easygoing, understanding people who wanted to be your friend, but at the same time were very respected. And I think that was just so cool because we both shared something that I value so much as wanting to become a teacher, just like seeing how the educational system can work for people through great teachers. So that was really awesome. Some differences between our school systems are, like for high school, they don't really have rubrics or online grading systems like D2L, so the students are kind of left guessing about what their grades are going to be for that semester. And we have more technology here, Frida said, as well as we have more freedom to choose our classes, like AP classes aren't offered there. So I didn't really realize that before, and it's kind of just interesting to think about now, like, would I have liked it better if I'd lived in Canada, or would I have liked the American system better? And it's just really interesting to like hear those differences and to try to figure out, okay, what's good and what's bad about those differences. Then for the second interaction, some of my feelings about sharing my cultural identity with her, like, were kind of what I just previously said about sharing that with her, because that's something that's always been hard for me, even though in the Christian religion, we're called to share with people all the time, to share about our religion. I'm not very good at that, so I was very, very apprehensive and a little bit nervous and scared to do that because I thought she might judge me. So yeah, that was just a little bit about those feelings, but overall it felt kind of freeing to be able to share that with her, and I'm very, very glad that I did. Yeah, because I think that this project helped me to realize that there is so much that I don't know about, and that I just want to really continue learning about people and about places and about all the differences that exist, and being able to fit those pieces together. So I'm really, really glad I did this project, and I enjoyed it a lot.